not prepared.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some good things to think about on Mulligan as well. Now that we see one, I will give you a good guideline of what you need to be asking yourself in a Mulligan. Okay, so the 3 questions you need to ask yourself when you are in the Mulligan phase is A, do you have the coin? B, what class are you playing against? And C, what are you expecting against of that class to be happening? Okay, so right now we are without the coin. We're against the Mage, and we expect it to be Ping Mage or No Minion Mage, aka Mazaki Mage Request Mage. In that line of thinking, what should we be keeping against this guy?
I'm tempted to keep the Trog because I know that we're going to experience quite a few spells, which would give me quite a bit of board presence if I'm able to play him early enough. I don't know that I should keep Cariel or the Alder Attendant in this instance.
Alder Attendant is always going to be a keep. Cariel would have been a keep if we were expecting to be against a board-centric matchup. In this case, we don't, so no. Just dump Cariel, keep the 2 others.
Alright.
Not bad at all. Okay, ooh, pretty decent. What do you think we play here?
Oh man, this is tempting. I've got a Libram already in my hand, so it seems to me like maybe Alder Attendant, especially because it's got 3 health as opposed to the 2 health. So it might be a little bit harder to ping early in the game.
It is a bit questionable, but yeah, I think Alder Attendant is what we do. I want you to pay attention to this man's hand right now. Do you see the zeros and the coin symbol and the 1?
I do, yes.
The zeros mean that this guy kept his entire hand, aka he has a perfect mulligan as much as he understands it's a perfect mulligan. Like, he kept the entire hand, so he must be having pretty good cards right now. Which is something that gives you information what you could be expecting from him. I do think he might be having the hero power +1 wildfire, was it called? I don't remember.
Oh,
Maybe he has that 4-drop that hero powers everything on the board in your face. Something along those lines. Okay, what do you want to do here?
I think here I would toss out the Trog and probably throw the Libram onto the Trog as well.
Why would we do it that way?
Because I think that would make the Trog a little bit more resistant to
It would,
getting
but can't we do the play better? You have another Alder Attendant, so your Libram becomes 0. Alder Attendant...
Oh yeah, that's true. So I could throw the Alder Attendant out.
Aldor, play the Trog.
Then the Trog. Then the Libram.
Yeah, give it the Libram and trade the free one with the 1/3. Yeah, do it. There you go. When the rope starts burning, I gotta start explaining the turn we're executing so we don't miss too much.
Totally understandable.
We don't miss too much opportunities. There was a greedier play there, going with the Libram on the 1/3 so we can get a value trade like that. But I think I like this one as well. It's decent enough. Okay, that's pretty cute.
So thinking about the next turn, when I'd seen that I had the Bannerman and we were coming up to 3 mana, my thought initially was, okay, we're going to crack 3 mana, so I'm going to throw the Bannerman to get the most out of my mana, and then probably try to trade the 1 into the 3/1 and 2/3 Trog into the face, is my thought for this turn.
I don't hate it. Let's think a little longer. What can this guy have next turn? He might be having the Amplified Snow Flurry, which gives him a 0 mana freeze hero power, which is not going to be too optimal. I kind of like going with... now that I said it, though. Feels a little bit sus. Maybe we go with Bannerman, sure. It feels a little bit weird because it's just 1 minion buff that way, but it's still good card draw and stuff. Interesting. Yeah, 1/3 makes the trade and 2/3 Ghostface. Right now we're definitely stalling this guy playing his good spells, something like Wildfire for instance. He's definitely not very happy this Trog's sticking around. There's that Snow Flurry we talked about. Mildly annoying, and he gets to kill the 2/1 as well, so we're not very happy about how this is panning out. Okay. A very fast hand for us.
So I think the play here might be to use, we just got the Broomstick with Rush. The only other minion in my hand right now is an Iron Deep Trog at 2/3, so I could throw down the Trog, throw out the Rush, the Broomstick to give the Trog Rush, and I would still have 2 mana left over, so I could Hand of Adal. I could Trog Hand of Adal to draw a card. If the card doesn't help me out, I could Libram of Wisdom onto the Trog, throw down Rush.
Okay, after you've recognized most of this play, do you find a better way of executing it?
Yeah, probably throw down the Trog, Libram onto the Trog, Hand of Adal to draw a card, and then see what the
into
card
Hand
is.
of Adal is the first 2 things you do. After that, we decide what else we're doing. Interesting.
What do you think I should rush right now?
Play the Broom and give Aldor and give the Wisdom to the Trog again and trade like that. Okay, see now how we left ourselves option, like we didn't lock ourselves into 0 mana before we got the extra information. If we had something like, I don't even know, like this is not a very good situation, which I can give you an example what would have been the great top deck out of that. But we left ourselves 1 mana before deciding if we're going to be brooming that turn or not, which is something you need to start doing so you can get a better probabilities for you. Okay.
Makes sense. So here I think my first play would be to put Bannerman down so I can see what minion I draw.
Exactly. Let's see it. Interesting.
Alright, so Samuro, so I've got 2 mana left, which means I could either Noble Mount or Hero Power. I think Noble Mount is the smarter play here. Probably throw Noble Mount onto the Broom.
It's an okay play, but it's not an amazing play. Doesn't even get the trade down, but maybe you still do it. Force him into pinging down the Divine Shield. Yeah, Noble Man, and give it the... actually, where does the Libram go? We could
maybe onto the Bannerman to make him a little bit bulkier.
Maybe it's still on the Divine Shield. It's questionable where it should go. If he wants to ping down the Bannerman, we're okay with that. That's
Sure.
all. Go face with it. Go face. A misplay you might encounter at some point is giving Noble Mount on Samuro, thinking that's gonna give you a bigger AoE Samuro. That's not how Samuro works. Samuro has Frenzy, aka he needs to take damage, and Divine Shield from Noble Mount prevents him from taking damage, so you're not gonna activate your Frenzy. So be careful with that possible line of thinking later on. It is something...
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually did that misplay a couple of days ago, so I learned that the hard way.
Happens to the best of us. I am not gonna pretend I'm a stranger to that misplay as well. But
Well,
it actually turned out to be a next level play.
You've made a lot of mistakes, so you understand how it goes, you know?
Yeah, it actually turned out to be a next level play because that left me with a huge Samuro on the board that was already the frenzy shit, so I was literally holding the board hostage with an unfrenzied Samuro.
Nice.
AKA, the opponent can't really play shit on the board because we're just gonna proc Samuro next turn. It was a good enough play as is, but it is definitely not what I initially thought of. Okay, what do you want to do here?
I definitely want to play the Devout Pupil. I'm not sure about the Samuro because he's a 2/7 right now. I don't think I need his board clear for what we've got on the board, and I'm a little bit worried that if this guy has something like a Fireball or other pinging maneuvers in his hand, we might lose the Samuro when we don't want him gone. So I would probably Pupil into a Hero Power, which gives us 3 mana left.
I would still Samuro here. I'm gonna explain
Okay.
later. Samuro into the 1/1. Give the Libram to the 2/1. 0 mana Libram to the 2/1. Hero Power and Pupil on the far right. Okay, so why did we play Samuro the way we did? We are against the Ping Mage, and they are not really a board-centric deck. we don't really expect him to win the board so that we can recover with Samuro. Okay, this might turn out pretty sage. Close enough. Could have been better, could have been worse. We lost our Libram, but all in all, it's fine. So yeah, we will discuss a few key points after the game. Something you might want to concentrate on later in your quest to becoming a better Hearthstone player. So far, this guy's pretty unlucky because he never got his Wildfire. It's pretty essential for them to get the +1 on the hero power, because if you don't, you're not a ping mage, you're an unlucky mage, basically. Okay, what do you want to do?
Stonehearth Vindicator. Really the only move I've got right now, because then I can draw a spell, and then I can play that on somebody on the board.
You're not wrong, but these people are known to run a 7-mana mass polymorph, which is something I'm kind of worried about.
Oh, I see.
He did draw a bunch of cards last turn, so him being able to have mass polymorph right now, if he's running 1 copy of mass polymorph, that would be like 25% chance for him to have it. I think I'd be happier just with a hero power, everything goes face here.
That makes sense.
This is... if we went with the Stoneheart Vindicator into a possible known removal they have right now, that would be considered overextending. Overextending is when you play more cards on the board than you should be. This was the other known card these guys run on this turn. That was the fucking most unlucky spread I've ever seen for Mask of Cthulhu. It is something I have a feeling the game is just bugged with cards like that. Like, imagine getting hit only once in the face, but 4 times into the 4/4 taunt. That was so rigged.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the play here is I've got 2 cards that both generate something. Draw a spell that costs 3 or less, or draw a holy spell. So my hand is pretty small right now. If I put both of these guys down, I'm going to get... Neither of these will draw me a minion. So I'll have a pretty empty hand, but I think I need more on the board, so I'd probably play both of them to see what I get.
I think the correct order in which you play these is the 1/1 first. I'm gonna explain after. Okay, and now you play the 3-mana Stoneheart Vindicator. There you go. Give the Hand of Adal to the... let's think a little. I think the 1/1. Okay, fascinating. Give the Libram as well to the 3/2 now. Hero power face with both. So what we did here is Knight of the Anointment draws you a holy spell. You have Librams of Hope, which are holy spells. Those would have been 7 mana for you. So I mean, it would have been an okay play for us, but also not an amazing play. We kind of wanted to force a Hand of Adal draw there. So what we did is we played Knight of the Annulment, which had a pretty good chance of drawing a holy spell for you. And that was the Libram of Wisdom you drew. And after that we followed up with the 3-mana Vindicator, which draws you a spell that costs 3 or less. So what we basically did is we thinned out the pool of holy spells and then shot with the Vindicator, which then really did give us the Hand of Adal, which we kind of wanted so we can get some card draw action.
Sure. So I think here I would probably, if it were me, I would Knight of Anointment, see what I draw, and then Lightforged Cariel, and then probably give the Libram back to Samuro.
That's not a bad idea, but I think we might be better off starting to abuse the new hero power we're gonna be getting. I think you start off with 7 mana Carol and hero power so we can get a 5/5 in hand. Give the Libram and smack face with the weapon. Never forget to always swing with that weapon, because there's no downside to not doing it. To doing it, I mean. So yeah, that's basically 2 damage forever for you.
That brings up one question, I suppose. Is there ever a point where if somebody has a super high attack taunt on the board where you would think, I don't want to take that?
Well, I mean, in that case, that is a punish. But if there is not such a case, usually you're fine. Usually you're fine swinging in most minions as well. Like, removing them from the board is probably a good idea for you a lot of times.
Right.
Okay. He's gonna regret that. Okay, what do you think we do here and why?
I think Knight of Anointment to see what holy spell we draw would be the first one that I would want to do.
Check your deck tracker right now. I want you to pay attention to your deck tracker. What holy spell are you gonna be top decking? It's not a matter of if. You're always gonna get that spell right now.
So let's see here. I guess the stuff that's bright is the stuff I haven't drawn yet. The stuff that's grayed out is what I have drawn. Is that how that works?
Yep.
So let's see. I would get a Libram of Hope probably then. It looks like.
Is it probably?
No, it's definitely.
It's
You're
definitely,
right.
exactly. We know it's gonna cost 7 as well. If you notice on the bottom right corner, there's a little 2 with a book next to it. That is your Libram counter discount. So now you will have 7 mana. So hero power first. Knight of Anointment. Libram of Hope, your Samuro, very important, the Samuro. And go face. Okay, so this is the beauty of deck tracker. Like, this is a great example of how you instantly started playing better because you paid attention to your deck tracker. You knew exactly what you were drawing, and that was by far the most powerful play we could have been doing this turn. I mean, the most powerful play would have been if this 5/5 was a 9/9 now, but we're not sad about this as well. Another thing is, where were you gonna Libram of Hope if you were alone right now?
Honestly, I would have probably Libram of Hoped my face.
Exactly. Which would have been a huge misplay because you're in no danger of ever dying in this current situation, whereas your Samuro was literally a walking dead person right there. It was a free 1,
right,
and we made it into a free 8, live to fight another day, and GG, we win. Because he cannot handle this entire board. Remember how I told you he's gonna regret using that flurry on a free?
Yep.
Well, it would have been literally freezing the entire board right now, but hey, the free didn't swing last turn, so he had that going for him. Okay, so things we need to cover after this game. I need you to understand that when you're playing against different classes, the way you will be playing will be inherently different. Let's say we were playing against the Beast Druid, a traditionally very board-centric deck. We would not have wasted Samuro the way we did if we were playing against the Beast Druid. We wouldn't have just wholeheartedly thrown literally an entire board clear worth of minion just for those handful of small minions there. I mean, we could have. It's actually a kind of scary board to leave like that for an aggro druid, but it's still... For learning purposes, it's still something you need to learn to distinguish. When is it okay to throw usually high priority, high impact minions like Samuro back? And when is it okay to tempo them out so you can keep on pressuring the opponent not to advance their game plan? This was such an example here. It's a ping mage. It's a ping mage, and you should know that ping mage doesn't necessarily have much of a board presence. What they try to do is get their hero power up to free attack nice and early, load up a bunch of spells, draw a bunch of cards with the pirate, so what's it called? Keep forgetting it. The free 4 that draws for each spell school you've played. And you know they want to be playing their hero card at some point, and also that minion that shoots their hero power across everything. So in that line of thinking, Samuro there was a perfect play for us because it was good tempo, it's a hard minion for them to deal with, and it literally stuck around for like, what, 6 turns I think? Literally 6 turns that Samuro stuck around. Imagine if that Samuro was in her hand for 6 turns waiting for us to actually lose the board so we can actually feel good about using him. No, you don't want to be locking yourself into a mentality where you actually need to lose the board so you can actually have the full usual benefit you get from your minions. It was good enough of a play, literally a turn 4, 2/7, that destroys 3 minions. Like, I can't really pinpoint better cards for the mana at that point. Can he get better? Sure, but can he get better against this class? Probably not. Same goes with Carol. We tempoed out Carol on turn 9 on a literally empty board. Like, do we feel good about the consecration effect she has when it actually lands on minions? Sure. Are we gonna hold back for it just to get that effect at some point? Probably not a great idea. Like, getting a hero power Blessing of Kings for 2 mana basically to your hand was a very good thing for us to get in the situation we were on currently. Like, we had some pretty low steam left for us, so we wanted to get the most out of our cards we could there, and kind of did. The other play was probably also gonna get us the win, but this kind of ensured it. It kind of ensured it, got us extra bit of value which we desperately needed, and also it's hard for them to actually win against you when the Carol effect takes place. This guy was lucky enough to have the Viper, but not lucky enough to actually matter for him, so we have that going for us. Do you have any questions on your part?
No, that makes a lot of sense, and you're right. When you're looking for somebody, when you're playing against somebody who doesn't have a lot of board presence, it does make sense to not waste 6 turns of a Samuro in your hand.
Exactly.
Good advice, for sure.
That guy was not gonna get a board presence better than the one he had the turn we played Samuro on. That is something you need to be able to recognize, and that comes with experience in the meta. Like, it really comes down to how well you know the meta, so you can acknowledge how well you could be playing your cards right. Like, if you didn't know that this guy is not board centric, maybe you wouldn't. I mean, you were leaning towards not playing Samuro that turn, which would have been a huge tempo loss in my book. Whereas we went in and we got rewarded for it. Also, so the turn where we held back playing the Stoneheart Vindicator, that was also a crucial thing to do. Because if he really did have the mass polymorph, you would have been literally dead in the water. Like, no follow-up whatsoever aside from your top deck, which was, by the way, a Knight of Anointment, which was drawing you a Libram of Wisdom. Like, that's what happened later on. So you would have literally followed up with a 2/2 and a 1/1 hero power. Whereas, where we held back there, we already had an established board which he needed to address. If he can't address it, GG. If he addresses it, well, okay, we're just gonna refill again, rebuild it, and live along. So that is another skill you might want to pay attention for. It is literally the exact opposite from the tempo play we made with Samuro, because that was also somewhat overextending, but at that turn there was no known removal he should have been using against us, whereas we were literally looking into the turn 7 where they have that mass polymorph shit that turns everything into sheep, losing your buffs, losing your everything. So yeah, I think we delved on this game long enough. If you wish, we can continue on the next one. Okay, against the priest, what priest are you expecting against you?
Well, that's a great question. There was a priest I played against the other day that had this insane combo. I don't remember what the card was called. I'm not quite sure what to expect from the priest. What do you think? What's your advice here?
There are a bunch of working priest decks out there right now. I would mostly expect Shadow Priest against us, but it can also be Quest Priest, could be Control Priest, could be Miracle Priest. There are a bunch of priests out there right now. Shadow or Quest Priest are my guesses. Doubt anybody's playing Miracle Priest on these ranks. What do you think we do in terms of mulliganing?
I'm thinking Cariel and Liadrin to throw away.
I'm thinking about that as well. Cariel might be important if it is indeed Shadow, but it's kind of risky, so let's just keep the Vindicator here.
And the card I was talking about, I looked at my pictures, by the way, was Amulet of Undying. I played against somebody who, I don't know how he was doing it with the trades, but he was playing, like, Amulet of Undying a lot, repeatedly.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
really
sometimes
annoying.
the game just bugs out and starts tradabling into tradable every time, which is pretty annoying, but it is what it is. I really think this guy's a Quest Priest. You could notice that he's probably a Quest Priest just by noticing his hand. He kept the far left cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trog would be the best play here because it actually splits up through the quest as well. We might postpone him playing his quest right now if he has something like Smite, for instance, to deal 3 damage on Trog and deal with it. Wow, he did not play his quest because of the Trog, boys. Make no mistake, that's what happened. Okay, what's the good play here?
I think Libram onto the Trog.
I think it's acceptable as well. It's definitely better than just hero powering. It still gets removed easily because they have 3 damage breakpoints, but it's acceptable. Well, this guy's not gonna do shit until he can figure out how to deal with that Troggy boy, and right now he's probably gonna concede, chat. I just know it. Play the free mana Vindicator and give the buff to the Troggy boy, and if he doesn't have silence in his deck, he's gonna be a very sad bunny. They do run silence in the deck, but it's still worth-ish to force it on this. There's the coin. Okay, some kind of BS, isn't it? What's the play here?
Well, I have enough to where, let's see. I could... I don't think I want to reduce the cost of my Librams right now. I don't think that's going to do anything for me. I don't have enough to broomstick into the pupil either. I think probably throwing out... What I would do is probably throw out the pupil. I don't have enough to honorably kill his Korok either, so he's going to bring it back. So I could either do 3 damage or... I mean, 4 damage or 6 damage, and that's not going to honorably kill that, so it's going to come back next turn. It's just
the pupil. Pupil protects you from everything, basically, and he cannot even honorably... He can't even kill his Korok to bring it back, even, so this is as good as it gets. Just go face. This guy looks like a Res Priest. Still think he might be a quest Res Priest, but... He's definitely looking into that Amulet of the Undying again. He does run it. Maybe he doesn't know that Trog doesn't get activated by the tradable. He does run Silence though, we know that for a fact. If he's playing like this, we know for a fact he doesn't have it yet. What you want to do here?
Elder Attendant probably first. I think I could honorably kill his Korok right now with the Trog, and then I don't think I need the broomstick, but I've got 2 of them, so I mean I've got enough. I could hero power, I could throw down the Elder Attendant, I could put out a broomstick, I could use the Trog to kill his Korok, and I put the rest to face, I think.
What do you think the correct play is? Final answer.
Well, I'm guessing not that, since you didn't agree with it. So I think the correct play maybe is to throw out, I don't know, hero power, broom the hero power, use the hero power to kill the Korok.
I would still prefer preserving our hand size, because we're kind of low on stuff to be playing soon. I think it's just hero power, Eldor Attendant. The 1-2 Trog honorably kills the free one. And you just go face. We save the brooms for later. They will probably have better utility for us. It's a priest in the end of the day. They have a lot of removal. So we're trying not to overextend again, basically. That's what we were doing.
Right.
Hysteria could be pretty punishing if he has it. Hysteria on the 4-5 possibly, but could be not that punishing as long as the trades happen favorably for us. It would be a risky Hysteria for him, but he might still go for it. I'm gonna grab a coffee after this one. Wow, almost 2 hours passed. Didn't even realize how fast time is flying. But we're definitely getting a lot of good teachable moments and a lot of... I mean, we haven't lost a single game, so that says it all. Okay, is he gonna Zerella? There's that Hysteria we talked about. Weird way for him to do things. Perfect. That was the perfect outcome for that Hysteria. That was one of the best Hysteria outcomes for us. Okay, what you wanna do?
I definitely want to, I think, Devout Pupil, and then probably everything into the face at that point. I think Devout Pupil should fill up the board, so I don't need to worry about hero powering or broomstick.
Yeah. Devout Pupil on the far right. I'm not sure I should even explain why we're doing it on the far right now. It's a textbook niche situation where it actually matters, but the reason why we put the Devout Pupil on the far right is Soul Mirror would copy the minions from left to right. So if he has a minion stuck on the board before that, he's not basically gonna copy Pupil like that. That's what we're playing around.
I see. Okay.
Okay, how do you deal with this current board?
Well, with the Trogs that I've got, with the Alder Attendant and the Stonehearth Vindicator, I've got enough that I could take out the Taunt, and then that would leave me with both the Pupil and the Trog, and then I could Hand of Vidal, probably Hand of Vidal first, so I get the card.
Let's Hand of Vidal first on the 3/4, because we actually have lethal potential here. And that is lethal right now. Libram of Wisdom on a free one. I'm gonna teach you how to cycle buffs right now. Okay, into the 4/2. 4/2 goes into the 3/7. Now Libram of Wisdom again on a Trog. Well, this is basically how you get a board buff AoE, basically. Like, you get to cycle that Libram of Wisdom on several minions before actually leaving it on a minion that can go face. This is another skill you should try to pay attention for. You definitely have plenty of favorable situations where cycling your Libram of Wisdom like that will help you immensely. Not only does that drop your Pupil down to 0 pretty fast, but also you just get extra damage there. Like, we were 1 damage short for lethal there, so we had several ways of doing that. And we wanted to get the extra information with Hand of Vidal first, so we can realize that if we're gonna be getting that extra... We actually misplayed. There was a guaranteed lethal there. There was a guaranteed lethal play there. Let me show it. Where the fuck's my stream, bro? There you go. So... let me show the guaranteed lethal. Rewind 2 minutes. That should be enough. Okay. Do you see the guaranteed lethal right now? Well, my head is kind of in the way. Why the fuck is my camera this big? I didn't realize I'm actually covering the attack of my mouse left minion. That's fucked up. Yeah, do you see the lethal right now on screen?
Looking for it right now. Give me a second here.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a coffee while chat figures it out. It's not a very hard lethal to spot. I'm actually kind of ashamed we missed it, but close enough. Okay. Could have still had a few extra turns here. Well, congrats. Easy gold for you. You can have a lot of fun now. No reason to sweat if you're gonna win or lose. I hope the lessons I gave you really stick with you, because I really tried hard. Like, I don't try this hard sometimes. Just because we were at a lower rank, there was definitely a lot of things I could have helped you with there, so I tried my best to do so. The most important things: try to turn plan, try to ask yourself the proper questions in the mulligan phase. If you're going first or second, what you're playing against and what do you expect from them. Try to have a clear game plan, what you want to be achieving each turn. That is pretty important. Like you saw in that situation where you did identify you want to clear the board. You knew that much. That was good. As turn planning goes, that was still good for you to know exactly what you want to be achieving. You just missed the good opportunity there with the Broom plus Libram, which is fine. It's not the most obvious play. I mean, it's not a hard play, but it's definitely something you should look for. Like, Libram of Hope Broom is a great utilization of the Broom. Like, that is one of the main reasons why we have Broom in this deck. The main reason is for Bar off, so you can clear the entire board for 4 mana. Another important lesson I think really stuck with you is if you know you're gonna be drawing that turn, make sure to draw first so you get the random outcome first and reassess if that is gonna be the turn you're gonna be doing indeed. And the other very major thing, figure out the entire turn or the turn up until the random effect before you start executing it in order to maximize your potential each turn. If you start doing those things, that alone can bring you to diamond. I'm sure of that. Like, those lessons are enough for you to reach diamond. Hell, even legend. Legend comes with mainly with grind. Like, if you adopt these habits long enough, it is gonna bring you to legend. I'm sure of that as well. But it really comes down to the grind at that point. Like, this season you're gonna climb higher, maybe into platinum. The next season you're gonna be able to climb to diamond just because of the sheer stat bonuses you are gonna be getting for reaching new ranks every time. And eventually you can be even hitting legend like this if you keep on using these good habits and good practices in your games to come. We didn't really focus too much on the deck tracker. You should check the video I sent you before the session again, really pay attention to it, and start using that information a lot more. Like, we didn't even talk about the board damage counters, we didn't really talk about the probabilities. Those, I mean, the damage counter we definitely should have mentioned in some of the live games, but the probabilities, that is a little bit next level. Like, it is good for like high legend decisions and shit like that, but for legends, it's still not a bad idea. It's still gonna help you get a good idea of what you should be expecting, but it's a little bit of a extra mental capacity you will be losing thinking about that instead of the actual plays. But in time, you will start doing that as well. Okay, do you have any anything you want to say as well? Any questions, follow-ups, stuff like that?
Yeah, so the question I think that's most pressing right now for me is in terms of, like, you definitely provide a lot of utility here and a lot of value with this service that you provide people, because I get a lot of insight for, you know, relatively reasonable cost. And I'm just kind of curious, do you think in terms of doing another session with you down the road, would it make more sense for me to try to like spend some time with what we worked on before scheduling something else? I don't want to get like too much information all at once. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense to try to?
For sure, that would be the best option for you. Definitely try to apply all of the tips you got in this session. Work on them. See, maybe you could even reach gold 5 on your own in the next week. And if you want, next weekend we can schedule another one and go from there. Really reinforce what we learned, see if more questions popped up, and really build from there. Like, there's a lot more to build from here. Like, we had a lot more teachable moments we could have been having. Like, some of these opponents were playing some random garbage, honestly. It's like some homebrew stuff that really wasn't giving us too much to work with. Like, half of them conceded on turn 2 because they saw a Trog. Like, not much to teach there, aside from Trog OP, yo. But yeah, if you want, spend a week or two applying what we learned, and we can continue next week or the week after. Sounds like a good plan to me. Yeah,
that sounds good to me, man. You'll definitely hear.
That's what I like to hear. Happy we made this session. It was a pleasure. Definitely took a toll on my voice. Let's see if I can handle another 3-hour session back to back. Yeah. Thanks again, man. You are okay with using this footage for video? I mean, we are streaming it, so it's basically in a video anyway, but yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. You will be seeing it soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. We shall see.